Welcome back to the film room, guys. First off, I just gotta say, well done for showing up. Look, the hardest part of any learning journey is consistency, and you are here, ready to level up. Today's explainer is a genuine coach's masterclass, and we are gonna completely shift your perspective. I promise you, by the end of this session, you're gonna stop watching football like a casual fan and start analyzing the pitch exactly like a pro. All right, let's lay out our tactical foundation. Here's the game plan for today. We're hitting the 4 phases, then the defensive blocks, width versus compactness, beyond the ball, and finally putting it into practice. So let's kick things right off with section 1, the 4 phases. To the untrained eye, a football match probably just looks like this chaotic back and forth scramble, right? But top analysts, they watch for the cycle. In reality, every single match is a continuous, relentless loop. Professional analysts don't just stare at the chaos, they're constantly asking themselves one specific grounding question: which of the 4 phases is a team currently in? Basically, a team either has the ball, they don't have it, or, and this is huge, they're in that crucial split-second transition between the two. Phase 1 is attack, that's when you're in possession. Phase 2 is defense, out of possession. But the game, it's almost always won and lost in the next 2 phases. Transition to attack, the exact instant the ball is won, and transition to defense, the instant it's lost. You can really see the tactical contrast in those fleeting transition moments. The very second a team wins possession, what do? Do they launch a quick transition, pinging 2 or 3 rapid-fire passes straight up to the striker before the other guys can even breathe? Or, on the flip side, the instant they lose the ball, do they swarm like crazy to win it back? Or do they just immediately drop back into a rigid defensive shape? Notice how fast top teams react here. It literally tells you everything about their underlying strategy. Which brings us right into section 2, the defensive blocks. Now, let's zoom in closely on a team's shape out of possession. When a team doesn't have the ball, how do they organize themselves? We're going to look at the exact tactical terms you've definitely heard top flight managers screaming from the touchline on a Saturday afternoon. Just look at the aggressive, suffocating mechanics of the high press here. Instead of retreating when they lose the ball, the attackers just charge forward. They pressure the opposition right on the edge of their own penalty area. It's a high-octane, incredibly demanding style of defending, and it starts from the very front of the pitch. But look, every tactic comes with a trade-off. Why even do this? Well, if you force a mistake, boom, you win the ball just 30 yards from the goal and you've instantly created a deadly scoring chance. But check out the risk. If the opponent is skilled enough to pass right through your high press, you've just left massive, dangerous tracts of space behind your pressing players. If your press gets broken, you are completely, utterly exposed. So if a manager wants to avoid that kind of exposure, they'll usually employ a mid-block. It's a really balanced, highly common approach to defending without overcommitting. The team just concedes the opponent's defensive third, and they wait patiently around the middle third of the pitch before they initiate any press. It's solid, it's organized, and it keeps the team's shape totally intact without leaving those huge gaps behind. Or a team might go with the third option, the low block. This is where a team just drops deep, defending very, very close to their own goal. The objective here is to stay incredibly compact and protect the absolute most dangerous areas of the pitch. By sitting deep like this, you are purposefully inviting the opponent to push all their players forward. And that perfectly sets the trap for launching a devastating, lightning-fast counterattack right into the space they just left behind. Moving right along to section 3, width versus compactness. Let's transition from where a team positions themselves on the field to how teams physically manipulate the dimensions of the pitch to their advantage. At its core, football is a game of real estate. You want to create space when you have the ball and absolutely destroy it when you don't. When you analyze this, you'll see a constant tug-of-war happening. Defending teams desperately want to stay compact. Imagine all 11 players standing really close together. It forms this dense wall that is just incredibly hard to pass through. Conversely, attacking teams want to use width. They spread their players as far across the sidelines as possible to physically stretch that compact defense apart, basically trying to rip open passing lanes right in the middle. Now we arrive at section 4, beyond the ball.
If you take away just one single lesson from today's explainer, please make it this one. It is time to completely shift your eye line. It's time to break your old viewing habits and unlock the absolute biggest secret of professional football analysis. Fans watch the ball, analysts watch players without the ball. Look, human nature dictates that our eyes are instantly drawn to the object in motion, right? The ball. But in football, the ball only moves where the players dictate. Sometimes the absolute most important player in a beautiful, flowing scoring move never even touches the ball. Their movement alone is what creates the entire opportunity.
So instead of just following the ball back and forth like a tennis match, you've got to actively ask yourself these tactical questions while the game is actually happening. Who's making a decoy run? Who is deliberately dragging a defender away just to create space for a teammate? Who's dropping deep to disrupt the opponent's defensive shape? Once you start watching the players away from the ball, man, you really see who is pulling the strings out there. Let's actually break down a goal chronologically just to see this in action. Say a winger receives the ball. The casual fan, they just watch the winger. But the analyst sees that the winger just attracted two defenders out wide, which suddenly, boom, opens up a massive central gap. The striker recognizes this, runs into that new space, receives the pass, and scores. The fan cheers for that great final pass, but the analyst, they're applauding the winger's positioning and the striker's spatial awareness, because that is what actually caused the goal to happen in the first place.
And finally, Section 5, putting it into practice.
Theory is great and all, but application is the whole shebang. It's time to take this brand new tactical toolkit we've just built together and apply it directly to your own match analysis. This is where you actually level up. Here's a curated look at some vital terminology in both English and Bengali, because reading the game like a pro means you need to speak the language, no matter where you are watching from. Mastering these dual terms, concepts like overlap, underlap, tempo, transition, and build-up, is absolutely essential. When you can articulate exactly what you're seeing on the pitch using the right vocabulary, your brain literally processes the tactics much, much faster.
All right, here is your homework, and I highly recommend trying this. The very next time you sit down to watch a match, just for 20 to 30 minutes, use what I like to call the pause and predict method. Don't even worry about the score. Just pause the screen right after an attack breaks down. Ask yourself, what options did the player in possession actually have? What would I have done in that exact scenario? Figure it out in your head, then hit play and continue watching.
If you practice this enough, something amazing happens. Over time, you will literally start predicting passes before they even leave a player's boot. You'll anticipate tactical shifts before the commentators even notice them. You guys laid a brilliant analytical foundation today. But the real question is, are you ready to see the hidden patterns behind every single attack? Keep practicing, because that's going to perfectly prime you for our next explainer, where we'll unpack the incredibly intricate world of build-up play and passing lanes. Catch you guys next time.